Greetings, my dear viewer. This is a channel about marital infidelity and about the consequences if one spouse starts to cheat on the other. If you, as well as I do, support true family values and condemn cheating, then subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. Let's get started. It was a typical Friday night when my wife of 12 years, Avery, cheerfully announced that she was heading to a reunion with her college friends. As she slipped into her favorite dress, the one that always emphasized her timeless beauty, she glowed with the same radiance that had captured my heart all those years ago. Her excitement was contagious, and I couldn't help but smile as I watched her. Evenings like this were nothing new, Avery going out with friends while I stayed home. Over the years, I had grown to trust her implicitly. Our relationship was built on that foundation of unspoken trust. Before leaving, she leaned in to kiss me goodbye, and I wished her a fun night. She smiled playfully, reminding me not to wait up. I had no reason to doubt her words or question her intentions. My trust in her was unwavering. The evening started uneventfully. I found myself on the couch with a cold beer in hand, a movie playing in the background to pass the time. Avery's nights out were a regular occurrence, and I was genuinely glad for her to enjoy herself. However, as the hours slipped by, a strange unease began to settle over me. It wasn't an overwhelming feeling, but more like a faint itch I couldn't ignore. It wasn't outright suspicion, but rather a nagging sense that something wasn't quite right. Usually, Avery would post snippets of her night on social media, a photo, a check-in, or a quick story. But tonight, there was nothing. The silence was unsettling, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. I tried to dismiss the thoughts, convincing myself that she was simply too immersed in the evening to update her accounts. Still, the unease lingered, growing more persistent as the hours dragged on. By the time the clock struck 1:30 a.m., my discomfort had evolved into a steady, gnawing worry. There had been no messages, no calls, no updates. This wasn't like her. Unable to ignore the growing doubts, I did something I had never done before. I accessed our shared phone account. For years, I had respected her privacy, never once crossing that line. But tonight, an insistent voice inside me urged me forward. As I scanned through the message logs, one name stood out: Daniel. His name appeared far more frequently than I had anticipated. Daniel wasn't someone I recognized from her university days or our circle of friends. He was an unfamiliar presence, a stranger in our lives. My heart pounded as I opened their message history. Though their exchanges weren't explicit, the tone was undeniably flirtatious. Messages like, "Can't wait to see you tonight," cut through me like shards of glass. The playful banter between them carried a weight that made my stomach churn. My thoughts raced, desperately trying to make sense of the situation. This couldn't be happening. Avery, my partner of over a decade, someone I had trusted without question, now appeared to be hiding something. Shock and disbelief left me frozen in place, unable to process the reality before me. At 3:30 a.m., the sound of her heels clicking on the hardwood floor signaled her return. Avery was home, trying to move quietly, as if not to wake me. Her effort was unnecessary. I had been wide awake for hours, my mind consumed by turmoil. She seemed startled to find me sitting there waiting for her. "You're still up?" she asked, her voice laced with unease. I forced myself to remain composed. "Yeah. How was the reunion?" My tone was steady, concealing the storm raging inside me. She hesitated briefly before responding. "It was nice," she said, avoiding my eyes as she busied herself removing her shoes. Her behavior was telling, her discomfort palpable. "Who all showed up?" I inquired casually, masking my curiosity with nonchalance. Her answer came too quickly, too rehearsed. "Just some old friends. You wouldn't know them." Her words rang hollow, and the name Daniel echoed in my mind like a drumbeat. I knew she was lying, but I held back from confronting her outright. I needed more than my suspicions. I needed undeniable proof. In the days that followed, I kept up the appearance of normalcy. Beneath the surface, however, I was methodically piecing together the truth. I delved into her phone, her social media, and any other digital footprints she had left. Bit by bit, the story of her connection with Daniel unfolded. It had begun innocently enough, but had grown increasingly personal over time. The culmination of my investigation was a photograph. Avery and Daniel at a party, his arm around her waist, her head resting on his shoulder. The image spoke volumes. They were far too close for comfort. The evidence was undeniable. Avery was seeing someone else. But instead of confronting her immediately, I channeled my emotions into a more calculated response. This wasn't just about addressing her betrayal. It was about making her fully comprehend the gravity of her actions. I began researching Daniel, uncovering details about his life, his social media presence, his job, even his private email address. Creating a fake persona, someone who appeared to be a mutual acquaintance of Avery's, I used it to establish contact with him. He had no idea who I really was. Simultaneously, I set up hidden cameras around our home. I recorded everything, their messages, their calls, and their meetings. My goal wasn't merely to confront her, I was building an irrefutable case. The day of reckoning arrived when Avery casually mentioned she was meeting a friend for coffee. I knew the truth. She was meeting Daniel. This time, I wasn't going to stand idly by. My plan was ready to be executed. I compiled a video, carefully edited to expose every aspect of their affair. It included screenshots of their messages, footage from the cameras, and the photograph of them together. I uploaded the video anonymously to a popular social media platform, framing it as a cautionary tale. Within hours, it went viral. When Avery returned that evening, her phone was buzzing with endless notifications. Confusion quickly gave way to panic as she realized what had happened. Her face turned pale, her hands trembling as she stared at the screen. There was no escaping the truth now. For the first time, Avery had to confront the full weight of her betrayal. It wasn't just a private reckoning between the two of us. The entire world was now watching. The truth about her was no longer hidden. From where I stood in the doorway, I watched in silence as Avery's expression shifted from puzzlement to pure terror. Her phone buzzed relentlessly, each vibration a harbinger of her inevitable realization. Her fingers trembled as she unlocked the screen, her gaze darting across the avalanche of messages. The color drained from her face as the full weight of the situation hit her. She looked up at me, her breath catching, words failing her. What is this?" she whispered, her voice barely audible, laced with shock and disbelief. The enormity of it all washed over her like a crushing wave, leaving her unsteady. "Did you do this?" she finally managed, her voice quivering as the question hung between us. I said nothing. My silence was more damning than any admission could have been. Her knees seemed to buckle slightly, and she sagged under the weight of the moment, tears beginning to stream down her face. She reached out toward me, seeking comfort, but I remained motionless, my resolve unshaken. The bitterness of betrayal I had carried these last few days crystallized into an unyielding edge. Her tear-streaked face mirrored regret, but it was far too late for that. The damage she had inflicted was beyond repair. Sympathy was a luxury I could no longer afford. Her lies, the secret texts, the covert meetings with Daniel, they had eroded the foundation of everything we had built over the last decade. She had destroyed it all for what? A fleeting, selfish indulgence. "Did you really think I wouldn't find out?" I asked, my voice calm but cutting, each word deliberate. Avery shook her head, tears falling harder now. I'm sorry," she choked out, her voice cracking. "I never meant for it to get this far. I never wanted to hurt you. Please, forgive me. I love you." Her words rang hollow. The love I once had for her was gone, replaced by a void she had created. Forgiveness? The thought was absurd. She had shattered everything we had shared, and now she dared to beg for something she no longer deserved. "I don't want your apology," I said coldly. "It's too late for that. Her sobs became frantic as she dropped to her knees, clutching at my legs in desperation. Her pleas tumbled out in a torrent, each one more desperate than the last. But it was useless. The trust she had betrayed could never be repaired. The incessant buzzing of her phone punctuated the tension in the room. She picked it up again, scrolling through the deluge of venomous comments now flooding her social media. Friends, acquaintances, even strangers had turned against her, labeling her a liar, a cheat, a destroyer of trust. The perfect facade she had so carefully maintained lay in ruins. The video I had posted was the catalyst. A calculated expose, it laid bare her betrayal with Daniel in excruciating detail. The world now saw her for what she truly was. Harsh as it seemed, it was the justice I had sought. "Please," she begged, her voice trembling. "Take it down. I'll do anything. Just, please, take it down." I shook my head slowly, feeling a cold satisfaction settle over me. She couldn't fathom the lengths I had gone to ensure the truth was exposed. There was no reversing it now, no reprieve. "I'm not taking it down," I replied, my voice firm and unwavering. "You made your choices, Avery. Now you're living with the consequences." Her sobs softened into shallow, uneven breaths as the gravity of her situation fully sank in. She had thought she could deceive me and emerge unscathed, but now the world watched her unravel. There was no escape from what she had done. Without another word, I turned to leave. There was nothing left to say, no confrontation that could mend what was broken. Her cries followed me as I walked away, fading into the silence that now defined us. She had taken everything from me, my trust, my peace, my sense of security, and I had nothing more to give. "Where are you going?" she called after me, her voice raw with despair. "Don't leave. Please don't leave me." I didn't answer. There was no point. The man who had once loved her with all his heart was gone, replaced by someone who could no longer bear the sight of her. What we had was over, beyond redemption. In the quiet of our home, I packed my bags. Her muffled sobs echoed through the house, but I didn't turn back. Not because I felt nothing, but because I felt too much. I had given her everything, and she had thrown it all away. As I walked out, her cries grew faint behind me. The silence between us now spoke volumes, a final, unbreakable verdict. The days that followed were filled with messages from her. Apologies, explanations, desperate pleas for another chance crowded my inbox, but I never responded. As for Daniel, he disappeared from the digital world, erasing his presence as if that could undo the damage. He had believed he could waltz into my life and walk away unscathed. He was wrong. Avery and Daniel were left to grapple with the wreckage of their lives, their reputations in shambles. The truth was out, and there was no erasing it. Meanwhile, I moved forward. The pain lingered, but so did a newfound strength. I had taken back control of my life, and my revenge, though harsh, had granted me closure. The silence between Avery and me became the final punctuation on our story. It was an echo of love lost and betrayal exposed. As I drove away that day, I knew I had made the right choice. The past was behind me, a chapter closed. It would no longer define my future. My friend, and this is the end of the story. If you liked this story, then put your royal like and subscribe to the channel. May the force be with you.